So me and Michael Anderson were just joking off screen. We're like, what episode is this? But this is episode 10, Michael. I guess you can say this is kind of a milestone, man. Episode 10 of the Kings of the Sport podcast, man. How about it?
Man, it's crazy. Even talking today about the show and where it started off to where it is now, and just the evolution of it all has been it's been fun, man. I've enjoyed it, just watching what's going on. A lot of people don't know, and I can't remember if I even talked about like how me and you met and did this deal. And I had watched one of Adam Sorokin's interviews with you. And I was like, man, I kind of like this dude. Like, he's got a real like for this racing, and just sent him a message on Facebook, and he was dumb enough to answer me back. And then now look, here's where we are.
Nah, when you first messaged me, I told Les about it. I'm like, hey, this dude Michael Anderson hit me up, and he says he wants to do a show. And Les was like, you got to do it. And from your messages, you seem like a really cool dude. And I'll tell you what, Michael Anderson is the star of Kings of the Sport. I'll just say that.
Oh,
this is your show.
I don't know, man. It's been pretty starstruck lately. It's everybody that's come on. We've hit a lot of different genres and age groups, and just people in this sport, and it's been really cool to highlight them for sure.
You mentioned age groups. So the youngest guest we've had on so far was Dylan Wineski, driver of the Nitro Moose Fuel Altered. We got another young dude on the show here today. Tell us about it, Michael.
Yeah, so and I'm going to give you the Texas saying of his last name, but Joseph, it's Gallegos, but I'm going to say Gallegos, But yeah, man, young gun dude, man, coming on the scene this past year with the Nitro Clown Top Fuel Dragster. You know him probably even from his dad racing fuel altereds and funny cars. They've been around racing for a long time. 22 years old, yeah. Right? 22 years old. Man, I'm really digging this guy, man. Like he's super excited about being involved in the front motor top fuel stuff. He's racing in the Nitro Chaos event. Or events. They're going to be in multiple events, but got his car together last year, man. I saw it go down the track. Super excited for him. I know that feeling like you worked your ass off to get it done, and then finally get it fired up, going down the deal. And there's some videos of him out there. He has a great social media presence with putting out what he's got going on, and just excited to have these dudes that are coming from that age group being a part of this stuff.
No, you mentioned his dad, Dave Gallegos. It's really Gallegos.
Gallegos.
It is Gallegos. It's Gallegos, and so, followed his dad, racing funny car chaos. And, his dad has done it all. Top fuel dragsters, big show nitro funny cars, fuel altereds. And so his son, Joseph, following in his footsteps, you mentioned that Outlaw top fuel dragster. I seen it when they debuted it at Stampede of Speed. And I'm like, that is a beautiful looking car. And so once we started the show, I'm like, that's one of the guys I would like to get as a guest on this show. And then when I found out he was driving in Nitro Chaos this year, I was like, we got to get him on the show. We have him here. But he's not our only guest. We got another superstar on the show here today, Bobby Hilton, owner and crew chief of the Great Expectations Top Fuel Dragster, winning the championship last year in the NHRA Heritage Series. He'll be joining us today to talk about Nitro Chaos, because him and Tyler Hilton will be driving in that event as well at Edgewater, which is not far from their hometown, and has some other news he's going to break here on Kings of the Sport. So stay tuned. And we're also going to talk about the history of Bobby Hilton, because, he got his Top Fuel license at a very young age, really young age. Excited to talk about that.
Yeah, that family just goes way back on the whole racing scene of everything, man. I mean, you go back, to Granddad and Jim and Allison Lee, and a lot of great history out there, that's talked about, with that group and, where they've been around. I've got to meet her a few times. Got to meet the Granddad a few times. Definitely know Bobby Hilton and Tyler and, the whole crew that's over there. So, yeah, man, there's definitely a lot of history, a lot of new stuff coming out. It's going to be interesting to see, his take on, going from racing in the Heritage Series to going to the Nitro Chaos, and where they're kind of going with that stuff. So, and, there's multiple other guys that are doing that, coming up at this race. You got Julius Hughes that's going to be showing up over there. You got Gary Wheeler there. They got their new one that's going to be showing up over there. So, Joseph's going to be racing. Man, yeah, there you go. I mean, there's some tough racing there, man. The thing about this Nitro Chaos deal is that, you can look at it two different ways. It's wild ass crazy, run what you brung. This is what, no rules, no nothing versus, what we race in the heritage deal or even in the extreme deal is, it's laid out to try to limit everything. So, I mean, it's kind of whatever, deal you want to do there, man. Right. Like it's just, you got to pick your poison where you want to be at.
Nah, for sure. And there's a lot of front motor top fuel cars that'll be racing at Nitro Chaos coming up in just a little bit. You got the Tennessee Shaker, BDM Malloy, Tri-State, Atlanta Speed Shop, like you said, Julius Hughes, Grand Prix with Gary Wheeler, the Frantic Fueler, so many front motor top fuel cars. I'm just wondering now, great expectations. Why isn't, the West Texas Hustler there? Why not? No, I'm joking.
No. And I've had quite a few conversations with Chris about this stuff and everything. And really, I think it's a lot of stuff is bad timing. But you know me, man. I don't want to be a half track racer, man. I did it for 10 years. 10 years I raced half track, and once you get to go all 1,320 feet. That's American racing right there, buddy. That's where it's all about. Quarter mile.
And so for everybody who's tuning in, and first off, thank you to everybody who's tuning in to episode 10 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. As always, I'm your host, Darren Williams Jr., and joining me, the man, the West Texas Hustler, Michael Anderson. And I'll just let you guys know right now, there may be a little smack talk going back and forth between Joseph and Michael. So all in fun, though. All in fun. But
absolutely. Hey, I'm going to get him to come out there and run 1,320 feet. You can only half track race for so long.
You should see him down in the green room. He's just
waiting. I bet he's going like this.
So before we get into it, what else been up, Michael?
Man, just got my clutch can and everything in the car today. I was finishing up the motor plate before I came up here to the house. Going to pick that motor up Friday from the machine shop. Just got some stuff cleaned up on it. We're probably going to have a Hemi in between the frame rails by Saturday or Sunday. And then, we're just going to try to finish up. Vandermeer's coming quick, buddy. Yeah. Vandermeer is coming quick. And it's, it should just be one hell of a good show of racing and having these cars show up, man. We're super excited about it.
Yeah, and not only Denver is coming up, so like we mentioned, Nitro Chaos, I believe is next weekend, but also Cool April Drags is next weekend as well. So a lot of drag racing coming up within the next couple of weeks, and for front motor top fuel cars, nostalgia funny cars. So some great racing coming up all around.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out to my boy Daniel over there on the WW2 team, man. Like he called me and, hey, if you're going to be there, after the last show, he goes, why don't you just come wrench on the car with us, kind of deal. And I was like, yeah, if I can make it. And then everything just started laying out. But, man, I sure hated calling those guys saying, hey, I wasn't going to be making it over there to Reading because I got to get my car ready. Because, I love hanging out with those guys, man. That race is going to be good. They got four dragsters. They got Champion. They got WW2. They got the Nomad and the Air Force A-Fuel car. And then four or five funny cars. I can't, on which ones those are, but they got a full field. Like that, it should be just a killer damn race.
Mm-hmm. And like you guys all know, Jesse Adams, the owner of Reading Drag Strip, Reading Motorsports Park, was on this show 2 weeks ago for episode 9. Go back and check out that episode. That was great. Before we move on, I want to give a shout out to Eileen Stafford Day. As you guys all know, she is the wife of badass Nitro funny car driver James Day. She earned her A-Fuel license out of the Strip of Las Vegas Motor Speedway this past weekend. Congratulations to Eileen Stafford Day driving Jasmine Salinas A-Fuel Dragsters, the Scrappers. And so congratulations to her. That was big time. And so,
hey, don't be shortchanging old James Day now. His love is top fuel dragsters, baby. Front motor top fuel dragsters. I'm telling you right now, you got goes back.
He's done it all. He's done it all.
He's done it all turns. Hell, he probably raced a damn go-kart down that track. Who even knows, man?
And so I was at Las Vegas this past weekend for the national event, the 4Y Nationals. And, Antron won top fuel. Matt Hagan won funny car. Dallas Glenn won pro stock. But there's a certain 3-time NASCAR Cup Series champion that won alcohol dragster. His name is I think it's Smoke Tony Stewart. Tony Stewart.
That's it. Yeah, man.
That was
that was exciting for that guy. He's just a racer though, man. That dude races everything. I don't think there's something he couldn't get in and race it. I mean, you go back last year, year before, he got in the top fuel car, went ran some 1,000-foot, or half trackers in a top fuel car, and man, it wasn't even like it was anything to him. He just hopped it and drove it. So yeah, super excited for him. Now I did watch y'all's show last night, and talking about Sean Langdon and what happened with that deal. And I want to tell you, man, Sean Langdon messed that up all day long. That was Sean Langdon all day, worried about what everybody else was doing. You pull up in that 4-wide deal, just stage your damn car. Don't worry about getting in there first, last, or in the middle. You better just be watching the damn bulbs, man. So yeah, I watched that whole Sean Langdon deal. I was just very intrigued about all that, as far as what all was going on.
No, I totally agree, and I'm not a racer, and now my connection goes out right when I'm talking. Keep talking, Michael.
No, you're good. I can hear you.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I'm not a racer, but at the end of the day, race your own race. Don't worry about what anybody else is doing in the other lane. You're talking about he hangs people out. Well, you're the one that got timed out. Josh Hart didn't get timed out. You got timed out. So, let's not play the games on the start line. I'm all for it, though. But, if you're going to talk about it afterwards, just run your own race, focus on what you're doing. And I think, that's the end of the day. Some social media stuff came out of it. Josh Hart responded on social media. Alex Laughlin responded on social media. So it's a big deal, but just run your own race.
Yeah, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right, so Michael, ready to bring on our first guest?
Yeah, man, I'm ready. Let's bring him on. I mean, I don't know. We better hold up a minute on him because he's got to figure out how to go 1,320 feet first. I mean, this is Kings of the Sport show right here, right? Kings of the Sport run 1,320 feet. I wonder what he's got to say about that.
Well, hold on. Before we do that, we have a legend in the comments right now. David Ratton, voice of Funny Car Chaos. Great racing families featured tonight on the show. Can't wait to hear their stories. I mean, how cool is that to have a legendary announcer like David Ratton in the live chat? Thank you for tuning in tonight, man. I really do appreciate it. We got Kurt Borden in the live chat. Michael, please video share the first fire up of your Hemi in the Texas frame rails. And then Brian Haas says, I love the game. So some great commenters here on Kings of the Sport. Ladies and gentlemen, Joseph Gallegos is next.
If you own a beautiful modern muscle car like this 1320 Challenger, I'm sure you don't want it stolen. Because the Challenger and many other modern vehicles have an easily accessible neutral release strap. That was your coin holder in your central console, and beneath that there's this red cord that someone can pop, put it into neutral, and potentially easily steal your car. But at destroyer1320.com, they have the TDS, Theft Deterrent System, which is a cover over that strap using factory mounting points so that you don't get popped by a thief. So make sure to go to destroyer1320.com using promo code MMR for 15% off and get your Theft Deterrent System TDS and steal the thief's hope.
Joseph, how's it going, man?
Good. How y'all?
Doing pretty good, man. So before we get started, you're in the green room. You hear Michael talking trash. You got anything to say to respond? I'm gonna just let you guys hash it out right now.
20-gallon pump's outdated, man. You want some real flames? Put a 30 on there.
Yeah, it is kind of crazy to watch what happens between the two different sizes and what goes on, man. I love it. I love to watch. I don't give a shit what car it is, as long as it's got big flames coming up. But it is fun to watch these guys go down the track and just whenever they go, it just lights it up.
Oh,
I mean, you can definitely tell the difference between a 20-gallon pump and a 35-gallon pump, definitely. But
we don't put a pump on it right now, so we might even show up with a Scott's pump. You never know.
The good news is we do have a 21-gallon pump as well, and Tulsa's only 3.5 hours from my house here. So
don't tempt me.
Yeah, I mean, here's the deal.
It's all tempting right now, baby. This is all this is.
We're committed to try to win the championship in Nitro Chaos with this kid, but it may open up. We may show up somewhere in the Midwest and do a St. Louis deal with you guys or a Tulsa. Just a little money shows up. You never know. So
Yeah, no, this is it's an amazing deal, like we talked about earlier. You're 22, right, or 23, Joseph?
24.
24 now. God dang, man, I think I've been talking to you for a couple of years now. I'm just getting older. I can't even tell anymore. But it's great to see, like we talked about this, 24-year-old young man, taking all this initiative with his dad, one being a huge family thing, get out here to race these cars because there's nothing easy about it. It's work, dedication. You can throw money. You always know money is there, but work, dedication, and wanting to show up and do this is the biggest thing.
And it was just me, him, and another guy, to where I'm servicing the bottom end, doing the clutch, and running the valves and all that. But that extra help, that's everything. It don't just take money to run these cars.
It takes a great team to win. If you want to win, you got to have a great team. That's all there is to it. You can, like I say, you can have all the money in the world, but if you ain't got a team to keep that thing together and put it together, you're just, it ain't gonna happen.
And so for you, Joseph, first time I saw the cars when you debuted it out of, obviously it's your debut, but out at Stampede of Speed, Texas Motorplex, Ennis, Texas last year. And I'm like, man, that is one beautiful race car. And so me and Michael start the show, which is centered around front motor top fuel cars. And I'm like, Joseph is one guy I would love to have on the show. And then like I said, I told you I saw you were going to Edgewater. I'm like, this is the time to do it. And so we're now on the precipice of Edgewater. It's been a long road of you getting this car on track. How excited are you to be making your debut out of Edgewater next weekend?
I'm amped up. I can't wait. I've been sitting in the car and about wore out that throttle pedal. And I took a lot of time this winter when we first debuted it. I was like, okay, this is actually a good looking car. And we came back this winter and it, month after month going through it, nook and cranny. Now it's like, okay, we got a pretty hauling ass car. I think if it messes up, it's my fault.
Yeah, no, we fine tuning these things. Like you can even buy a car ready to go, and to make it yours, you have to tweak little things here and there. And we've always prided ourselves on having cool, fast looking cars, and now we're going fast as well. So
it's like the small stuff this winter. We got a spare set of heads with headers ready to rock. We got a spare short block ready to rock, we got a brand new spare tire in the top of the trailer first time ever, and it's like, oh man, we got we're ready to go a couple times, so it's a good feeling. I'm amped up. I can't wait.
And there's a guy out there, you guys already know, the Monday morning racer, Lee Craft. He's one of my good buddies. He covers Funny Car Chaos, Nitro Chaos. He says a motor in the front of a top fuel car is the way God intended it. And so for David, he's driven top fuel dragsters, funny cars, fuel altereds. For you, Joseph, why front motor top fuel car? What made you get to the decision of I'm going to run a front motor top fuel car?
I went to help Brad, a couple years ago at the March meet, and he was taking me through his shop and showing me the car. And I started doing research, and it's like, damn, I just fell in love with that orange car that he had, that front motor car. And it was like, dude, that's the baddest car on the planet. And after just walking through the pit, seeing Hilton's car, full body car, when they're running a Chevy, and it's like, damn, that's it. That's funny cars are cool, and top fuel's cool, but dude, front engine dragster is where it is at. Don't matter what the motor combo is. My next cars are going to be that.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of the sport, is that it grabs different people in different ways. There's the aesthetic, the looks of a car, the vibe. California Cool. Originally, he had planned on maybe calling the car California Dreamin'. And, we kind of stuck with the Nitro Clown thing because we've already built that
crashed,
brand.
And it was like, I was building the car and he was stealing all my good parts and putting them on the funny car. And then as soon as we crashed the other car, it was like, bam, game on. I'm taking this. At the end of the year. And we did. We built the car in a month and had it ready to go.
Yeah. Whenever you finally got to that point, what was it like the first time you got to get in it and fire it up just to warm it up? Because I remember what my experience was like. And then two, the first time that you really got to stab on that gas and really feel what it was like.
The first warm up was like, damn, oh shit, everything's working good. Nothing's messed up. I was like, dang, I put this thing together and it's all right. It's like we had a couple fuel leaks and stuff, but we got it fixed, and I'm just nervous as hell going up there. Never drove one. And, I asked people, try to ask, advice and stuff. They're just like, man, you got to drive the hell out of it. You got to drive that thing more than anything. And it's like the first couple hits, I felt like that, trying to drive it. But I kind of finally calmed down to where it's like, you don't need to kill it. It's just, you got to just I learned why they call them slingshots. You know, that's just a weird feeling the whole chassis while you're in the car down track and you make a move and like the whole thing, you know, it's just a reflex.
Snaking down.
Just snaking down through there. But the first hit was like, you know, you go up there and it's staged and it's like, okay, damn, we're here. It's go time. And you're just feeling every cylinder hit, the chassis rock back and forth. And as soon as you stabbed it, it's just like everything goes away and it just starts sucking down through there. Great feeling, man.
Yeah,
there ain't nothing like it.
They had us at the Stampede. They had us paired up that last run. They didn't have the clocks on for that deal, so we didn't really have a gauge of what ETs and 60-foot were. But the last run, we had got paired up with Terry Haddock, and we knew his car had run some 390s, and he was pretty regular 4.0 guy there. And just at the races he had been racing at. And so when it left, and I knew it was hauling ass. And I'm sure I've stopped
clutch
it.
lockup.
I've stopped it with the video stuff, and it was at least a 380 because we had him by about a car and a half.
And I pedaled
and he pedaled it too. So, and in that same combo in our funny car and Alter would run 370. So I'm sure just because of weight, it's probably a 360 car here. I'm pretty sure that it'll go 360s. The big difference is up until now, we've never had a computer on any of the nostalgia stuff that we've done. And so we have a computer on his car now. And we also have Donnie Bender to look at that computer because we're not smart enough to do it. But so the sky's the limit right now. And we're just tickled to death to get this thing out and down the track because I think it's got a lot of promise. I think it's got a lot of poop in it, as they say. It's ready to go.
So what combination are y'all running in this car? Tell us kind of a little rundown of what you got going on.
Yeah, it's got the 671. It's got, the 44 amp mag. It's small cubic inch, 413, 3 3/4 stroke, 4187 bore.
Stage 2.
Standard stuff. Alan Johnson 2 heads. It's got the setback plate on it.
The best used pistons money can buy.
There's good stuff there. It's got good stuff. We had just bought a short block, brand new one, right prior to me crashing the car. So it's all got brand new stuff. And
it's literally the nicest stuff we've ever owned, like saying this is the most prepared, man. We got a block that we know I'm going to stand on it, until they don't like it. Having that in the car, knowing that your setup's ready to go, everything's perfect, Cherry, that's just another thing in the driver's head to, make it feel all right.
We bought that combination. It came with the car when we bought the car from Richard Townsend out there, the Nitro Holic car. And we really struggled that first year. We blew it up every which way you could. And we really learned. We brought on Brent
That's
Fanning.
How you learn.
We brought on Brent Fanning, and he really broke it down to bricklayer vocabulary. And showed us what to do and how to do it, and we really took off from there. And like I said, we won a Nitro Chaos. We runnered up at Funny Car Chaos. We won some Funny Car Chaos stuff with it. So we just had been running the car how we knew how to run. It just hauled butt to the 8th mile. And now to put it in his car and see it react that quickly, we're really excited that now we have a skilled guy to look at a screen and make
direct
a little
drive, no more 2-speed, no more rebuilding. I'm sick of that, man. I'll never look at a 2-speed ever again.
You hear that, Pete Kaiser? We got another one that don't want a 2-speed in his car.
It's more stuff to go wrong. The less moving parts, the better. That's what I've learned.
And mentioning some big names here. You say Brent Fanning, Donnie Bender. Donnie Bender working with Snake back in the day. Used to tune on Larry Dixon Top Fuel car after Dick LaHaye retired and stuff like that. So great that you got some big time names over there helping you guys out. I want to take a look now at the car though, because like I said, it is a beautiful looking car. This is at Ennis at the Stampede of Speed. Here goes another shot of it right here. Just curious, how did you, come up with the idea to get that blue? That's a nice looking blue right there.
That's just my favorite color. Always sky blue, that real light blue. It looks so good in the sun. Sometimes it looks like pearl.
And then I ask everybody this because with these front motor cars, there's always like a backstory to the chassis. Like this guy owned this chassis at some point and I bought it. Tell us the backstory of your chassis right there. That's really behind you right there.
I bought my car from the Grand Prix, John Brooks, Gary Wheeler's the driver. And they bought it from Nitro Addiction, I believe, which was like the OG Nitro Addiction, Pete Jensen tuned from East Coast car. But when I bought it from them, it was wrapped as like a Benny Osborne. And man, I will never put a wrap on a car ever because it spent like, 2 weeks, after work, just get off work, start peeling the panel. All right, fuck, screw that. I'm done. I'll never put a wrap on a car ever again because that is like the worst thing to do is peel a wrap off. Now I know why people pay to do that.
Hey, Michael. So he mentioned Benny Osborne, right? Benny Osborne was the first back-to-back champ in NHRA, 67-68. Won the World Finals at Tulsa, Oklahoma. So that's a pretty big-time name in the world of drag racing right there. Benny the Wizard Osborne. Love that name.
Yeah, hey man, you got to have old wild man Pete Jensen in there too. Foothill Flyer himself on Mr. San Francisco, Sutter Creek. He's definitely a character in his own world for sure.
Oh, yeah. You learn a lot from everybody, no matter what it is.
That's it.
A little story about how the car came home. And so Joe calls me and says, Dad, I'm gonna go to Tulsa and we're gonna look at a Monte Carlo, a big block Monte Carlo. And I said, okay. He said, well, what do you think? He said, well, let's bring it home and clean it up and try to flip it. And so we went down and looked at it, and it had a blowed up motor in it, seized motor. 72 Monte Carlo.
72.
And so I'm thinking this is going to be, a year or two project for him. He's going to be out there. And we get it home, and in about 3 weeks, he's got a motor found, motor in it running, and then has a buyer for like 3 times the amount that he bought it for. And so he has all this money. He sold the car. We went and delivered it, and he has all this money. I'm thinking, what a great start. My kid's got a good chunk of dough in the bank, and, he's doing things right. And so we ended up going to Tulsa for the fuel altered race with the black car.
I blew that up.
And he was going to drive that, and he blew that up. But on the way there, he tells me, he says, "Oh, Dad, I'm going to buy a front engine top fuel car." I said, "What?" He goes, "Yeah, I got the money. They only want this much." He says, "We're going to go look at it." I said, "Okay." So we went over there. But unbeknownst to me, he had already bought it. We weren't looking. He had already bought it.
The cash was coming.
And I'm like,
me.
what?
It was done.
I said, we already got a funny car and fuel all, but we got plenty of shit to go and drive. He goes, "No, this is going to be mine." And I was like, I just scratching my head. What the heck?
I got an 18-inch cage. That way he can't fit it.
Yeah, no, you wouldn't.
I said, I'm going to be driving this one.
He's safe there.
That's it. I always tell people you're always just 3 bad decisions away from racing with us at any given time. 3 bad decisions, and you can be there playing with all of them.
Yeah.
Is this the altered you blew up right here? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah. So that car we bought from Bill Wyndham out there in California. He ran it in the 7.0 Pro deal, and that was actually us getting back into racing. I had got out of racing for about 5 or 6 years. Put a couple of Joe's older brothers and sisters through college. They had done some college sports, so we traveled around and did that. And lo and behold, Joe's like 14, 13, and just bugging me. "Dad, we got to get back in it. You can do it. Let's do it." So I thought, well, just by buying this nice, simple, big block car, it was just going to be fun, on the weekends. And of course, we'd go to these races, and there'd be one Nitro car fire up. Be like, yeah, once you go Nitro, you never go back. But we went from like about
the needle.
2-3 weeks, and even winning in that car to go, where are we going to get a Nitro car at? Can we afford to do this? And lo and behold, we did. And Chris Graves, another one of them guys, is a bad influence because he kept telling me, "I'm starting this thing. You got to get a funny car. You got to." And sure enough, what did I go do? And I went and got one. And it's just blown up from there. And like I said, the beautiful thing is we have our family and our friends, and we're doing it, and got great sponsors now. I got a guy named Gary Starkey in Nebraska that's come on helping us out.
Nitro Club.
Yeah, Randy Remy. Nitro Club has a clothing and apparel
System
business.
One's helped us from since day one. Ever since I go to help Brad, we had a pump, a Pluger, and it's just eating the bearings up, cavitating and just wore out. So we're like, all right, I go to California, and Richard Earp, if you're OG and you know him, way back in the day building the pumps, Wild Earp. He was like, "Throw that up in the trash. Here you go, kid. This is what you need." And they've helped since day one.
Yeah, it's just along the way we've just been blessed to be fortunate to be involved with people that really care about us and our safety, and because we're dangerous. If we didn't have these people we'd have probably been hurt by now. You know, not that we and so financially,
it's just good to have to be able to. I was growing up and got to race with so many hardcore, badass, real racers, to where it's like, man, I learned the right way. You know, I saved a lot of years and time and headache and money learning, going out and paying my way to go race with these guys, and just all that knowledge is priceless. You know, blocks and blocks of knowledge.
You know, to give an example, Joe, we got down to a week before we were going to go to Stampede last year, and the one piece we were missing was a little short 8-inch drive shaft, 40 spline drive shaft, and we had been back ordered and called and for months, you know, the 2 or 3 months, and Joe made one text to Donnie Bender, and 2 days later it was at our house. You know, those are the kind of connections that make things happen in this business, and we don't have the clout that most
we're in Kansas. We're in the middle of nowhere. You ever heard of Toto? That's where we're at. It's about to tornado out here tonight.
So if we see y'all go like this, we know what happened.
just being in the middle of nowhere, you know, you got to be able to trust. Okay, do I send these heads or this out to California to the East Coast to get worked on? Who knows when we'll get it back? Or do you send it out here? Or do you send it there? To the point where we're like, you know, we can't rely on that.
Yeah,
and it's just
it's the connections. You make the right connections, and it becomes affordable because you don't make the mistakes that cost you.
Brandon from Nitro Link, and he was one of the first dudes we bought that Alter from. I mean, he's always helped us and sold us stuff on real good deals, and just them small deals like that.
Yeah, he's a killer dude. He's a real good dude.
What he has is top of the line, fresh, good, basically brand new.
Yeah, Nitro Link. If you guys need stuff, give him a call. Nitro Link out in California. He's big out there at the March meet. He's a staple in Bakersfield, that area. So.
And like, there's never a question. My dad shows me something, you know, that he has, and it's like, dude, we get it. You know, it's not like, oh shit, you know, is it blowed up? Who's it from? And how many hands have been on it? Who did the machine work?
Yeah. It's you know, and it's really cool that you're kind of talking about that, because it really is a small community of you know, individuals that's in that, and then you get 10 or 12 good buddies within that deal, you know, racing buddies, man, and you call and got a problem, like I'm waiting on some camshafts, man. I call Rick McGee, like, hey man, you know, you got this camshaft, blah, blah, blah. He goes, yeah. He goes, I'm not going to need it till Boise, so just get me another one. You know, 3 days later, I got a camshaft sitting in my house. So, yeah, it's, you know, them dudes are cool. I mean, it's super cool to, you know, that once you kind of get into that fraternity of guys, you know, it's a good deal, or in women, you know, it's a good deal for sure. Because they're there. Don't get me wrong, they are there.
And I think that's the same thing we're getting at the Nitro Chaos and the Funny Car Chaos. It's a big family. If we go up there in Q2 and throw the blower off it, somebody's already brought a blower over for us to borrow so we can go up for round one. And we've done the same thing. We've gotten other people in the final round with our heads. You know, and stuff, and that's
Fred Farndon's first final round was with our motor, basically our top half of the motor,
right? And that's,
you know, and it's like we couldn't even get out the jack stands. Our stuff was so messed up, so we pulled off the heads, put him on his for the final round, and you know, he didn't win, but it was still, you know, that's the kind of people you want to be around,
right? And
not someone you have to walk through the pit and not look the way, you know. It's like, we ain't about all that, man. We work our asses off, lay brick. You know, come here, work on the race cars, load it in the trailer, go to the racetrack, and just haul ass. That's all we want to do. Right. We don't want to talk. We don't want to, you know, talk shit, or who cares what's on the car. That's why we built this 30-gallon pump. You know, hey, you already know I'm cheating if I show up.
Hey, you know, it's kind of crazy when you talk about that stuff, because hell, I've never run a 30-gallon pump on a car before, right? Like I've only ran on this one pump, so I wouldn't know no damn different. I'd probably still tear that shit up too. You know, that is what ended up happening.
We found a way.
Yeah, I think I talked about it one time on, you know, that owner's driver's page. I had like a 150-gallon pump in there, and I got told it'd just blow the webbing out of the motor. I was like, it's a goddamn dump truck motor. It ain't gonna blow up like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, so what's y'all schedule looking like for this next week? I know you got, you know, the Chaos race coming up. So what's the deal?
Tuesday morning, we're going to get up early and head off. It's about 9 hours to Indianapolis. We're going to stay there a couple days. We're going to go and take the tour of my car in the background there. We're still missing some key parts to get it together. And Alex Conway over there at TSR, Tony Stewart Racing, he's second in charge there, and he's been getting us all the good parts. It's a 2020 Hellcat from Matt Hagen's deal. So we just got a lot of great friends in that town, and we're just like little kids in a candy store. We get down there, we go to the different shops, and we're in awe. We're just like, people think our stuff's cool. I mean, when we get there, it's like that's their job and that's their life.
The pocketbook's never big enough.
Yeah, it's. I gotta leave my credit cards and my checkbook.
It's gonna be dangerous. This is gonna be the first time we'll stop with the trailer, though. All the room we need.
We've just made some friendships, like I said, and so this is our little vacation. We're gonna take a whole week. We'll come back after the race on Monday. It's a day of travel on Monday, so we don't have to hurry home on Sunday. It's just this is what we do. We don't play golf. We don't. Shoot guns. We don't, football's okay once in a while in the playoffs, but we drag race. This is all we want to do.
Well, I feel like that y'all could get back in time to put a 20-gallon pump on that car and show up at Vandermeer. And then just leave Vandermeer and go on to that next race the next weekend. I don't see where that couldn't be a problem right there.
Well,
Hey, if it goes good, you never know what happens.
We've done that. Vandermeer is a special place in my heart. I grew up about an hour and a half north of there in Fort Collins, and 4 or 5 years ago, we got an opportunity to go up there. We got booked in to run the fuel altered, and I was in hog heaven because that's where I went to my first drag race at. I got to go under the tower and run that deal, and we just never been invited back since. So I don't know what's happened. I know they got a lot of issues.
I made a hit in that black altered there too.
Yeah, so it's it's a place I'd go race for free because it's cool.
Well, I'm inviting you right now. You're literally invited right now. I mean, you are talking to the right person about that. Right. So I'll put you on the list, highlight you in yellow, say they're going to be there. Hell, I would don't just leave the 30-gallon pump on there. It's fine. Just come on, shit. Let's just go race. We'll be all right.
Away from it.
No, just leave it on there, man.
You see how you are.
Yeah.
I mean, you just got to know where you're at. 9,000 feet, 30-gallon pump. Woo!
We've got some
60 40, in the mag, and let's go.
We've got some 45,000 head gaskets when we go up there, so we'll be going.
No, that's killer, man. And I know that your schedule is going to be busy, just trying to keep up with that chaos deal and, what's going on. And, me and Chris go way back from whenever he did the SHRA deal. I was racing him in his dad's purple Slinky car and stuff. So, yeah, excited for him and what all he's done within that racing series.
Yeah, good things happen to good people. Chris is a good dude. Yep. Aside our stuff, we're also teamed up with Mitch King Motorsports. So we have that on our plate as well. Joe's going to make some more license runs in the Big Show Top Fuel car later this summer. So we're excited about that. But no, definitely at some point we will come run with you guys. I don't know where it'll be, but I'm an old school guy too. Yeah, I want to get that 1320 feel too. So it's on our bucket list.
Well, I'll tell you this, Joseph, you ain't felt shit until you feel that clutch really rolling after 660 foot. Whenever your eyeballs start really, and then they just go boom. You're gonna love it. I'm telling you, I can already tell that you're easily ruined. It's not hard to ruin you. No. So once you do it, you're gonna be like,
next door, man. All right, camper. That's all I do.
No, it's cool, man. For me, even in this deal with all, and I talk about this all the time. It's I don't give as long as you're racing. If you're out there, what I love is your enthusiasm towards these fuel motor cars, man, like this. Your social media presence is absolutely outstanding. For somebody that doesn't like technology but likes to show off their car, it's really cool to watch that happen, man. And you're showing, young men your age that, hey, you can do this. You're going to work your ass off. You're going to make some sacrifices, but you can get out there and go race at a grassroots level, top fuel racing, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of sacrifices. It might look like a big show, but it's like, shit, man, I'm over here working on the car day in, day out, no matter what it is. We spent all day a couple of the crew guys. We cleaned the whole top of the rig, cleaned the whole bottom, all that wiping on your hands and knees, cleaned all the corn and dirt out of it from last year.
I love it, man. I love it.
They're not going to leave me alone with that. I'm going to probably get.
Hey, I got a little sticker on the front of the car. It's a flower riding a skateboard, and it says "Eat dirt."
Well, you probably see those Shane Stewart's deal from the Hot Rod reunion last year. Run number 2. He was out there surfing on the beach. I mean, the video does it pretty good. But whenever you went back to his pit after that, guy, it looked like he brought half a California beach home with him over there in that pit. It was crazy, man. I couldn't believe it, how much sand was out there. So, yeah, corn stalks and I don't know whatever else shit you can get into. I can't even imagine where that ended up.
Yeah.
So before I get out of here, we talked a lot about connections, during this interview. You talk about, this show is basically around a Heritage Series racing. You guys run Nitro Chaos, Funny Car Chaos, but you mentioned buying Bill Windham's car, and that kind of connects the two universes. But I want to talk about connection and a relationship between you two, because Joseph, I love the enthusiasm, and you could tell your dad is such a major supporter, but you guys really are best friends. Talk about your relationship, because I love it.
We're probably the best combination you could think of. I'm good at doing the work, and he's good at getting the work.
Yeah.
With through the business, through the race cars, I do probably about 80% of the mechanics work on the cars, but it's like I wouldn't know what to do if I needed a part. To the point where it's like, all right, I need this wire. We need to send this wire back in. While I'm at work, he's doing all that while still doing all the other job stuff. To the point where it's like when I get off work and come back home, the parts are sitting right there, and I just go straight to work.
Yeah, I concur. It's a great team. We have our.
I mean, even today we were trying to do the same thing at once, and he's like, "Hey, I'm going to do this," and I'm like, "Okay." We have that father-son connection to where it's like it's all love.
We will get into other shit once in a while, but for the most part, he is my best friend. I'm not a big friend guy. I have a couple of guys that I've known a long time, but we're together through work and play and nonstop. And like I said, he's shown a maturity at a very early age that was way above mine at his age. I'm telling you, at 22, I had no idea that you could do this. And he kept his focus, and he's onto it. And it's really, as a father, to see him. I tell you, I'm more nervous now than I've ever been standing behind the car and seeing him in these cars. But I know that he deserves it because he's worked hard for it. It's not something that his rich daddy gave him or put him and forced him into it. He has a passion and a love for it that I seen in him at age 4 and 5. We took him to monster truck races, mud races, and he was just all in, and I got the saying, I think some guys force their way into this like I have. I love the sport, but I've forced my way in it, and I think he's a natural. I think he's just born with it, and that's just how life is. Like you said, it's supposed to be that way. It's supposed to be
it.
Next gen. So
I'm just a punk skater.
That's it. From Kansas.
We're trying to put Kansas on the map.
I'm gonna get some red slippers and tie them around the back for on the run.
We want Kansas, John Weeby. We want.
So talk. Before they go though, Darren. As a dad, I got a 16-year-old son. That's probably going to be getting into this stuff here before too long, and. Whenever you were sitting there, I know this wasn't the first time you've seen him go down the track, but it's a different monster whenever you start talking about nitro motors and everything's in front of you and what's going on and, new car. What was that feeling like? There's some videos of you out there. You can see, the intensity that's going on, but what were you feeling inside?
As a father?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So like I said, I think the relief I have is that I know he understands how every part and how that thing is working. He knows how that clutch is going to lock up because he's been around and been working, and he can tear that stuff apart, and he's had it all apart and all back together. So that gives me a good sense that, we're not just sticking him in there blindly. And so he's way beyond his maturity as far as that goes. But it's still Dad's nervous.
First time you're on the starting line, it starts header flaming, and he's like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
He didn't know what to do because he's used to sitting in the car all the time.
Brent Fanning was there, kind of overseeing us, and he kind of had to push me aside, reach in there, and turn her down a little bit.
Even our warm up, our recent warm up, I was like, dude, you never looked at me once to do nothing besides the very end. I was like, we need a little communication while we're in there.
We'll get it.
Yeah, it just takes time. Time to learn good position. Now it's going to be all my fault.
Yeah. You know, it's one of those deals, and you'll always hear it too. That car was fine, son, whenever you've staged it.
That's right. And we got a saying as a crew: once it gets past the burnout and it backs up, he's on his own, man.
Yep. As soon as you pull them wires, you sign that dotted line.
Yep.
That's it. That's it.
And now his pocketbook's just as invested as mine, so that's also a little relief on my wallet.
Well, great.
So everybody who's watched the show for the past 10 episodes, I'm sorry because they've heard this before, but you mentioned Kansas John Wiebe. I'm the only non-racer on this show right now, but I got to warm up Kansas John Wiebe's top fuel car at Nitro Revival last year, and I know you guys are from Kansas. My grandfather is from Wichita, Kansas, so little
awesome.
there.
That's 2 hours.
That's
right down
a
the
hop,
road.
skip, and jump. We got Randy Meyer, we got the Coopers in Wichita, we got us, we got Anthony Whitfield, small block Nitro guy. So there's Lurch down there. He's got that Psycho 2. We've got some Nitro in the last probably 10 years to start coming on. And like I said, when we go to Texas or some of these other races, I think we're a threat, and that's a good feeling. When we roll in there, we look good, we're fast, and people know that we got a chance. And that's all I can expect. The wins and losses come, but we're having a great time, and that's all it's about. My family memories. That little memory deal is what's important.
If you can't be fast, you better put on a show.
Yeah,
that's right.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Entertain.
And look good doing it.
Yeah.
We have no attachment to the money that we spent. None whatsoever.
Well, I've never been to a Funny Car Chaos or Nitro Chaos race just yet. I need to make it out to Eddyville or Kearney or something like that. I will be writing the recaps though for Competition Plus on Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos. So we'll definitely
make it out. Come hang out in the pits, man.
Yep.
Oh, for sure. I'm gonna try to
hang out with us.
I'm gonna try to catch a ride with Monday Morning Racer. That's what I'm gonna try to do. Try to get in with him.
Perfect.
So.
Hell yeah.
But Joseph, David, thank you guys for taking time out and coming on to Kings of the Sport here today, episode 10. Like I said, Joseph, I love your enthusiasm and best of luck to you in the future, man. I'm rooting for you.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, man. I'm ready to see y'all on that 1320. Let's go.
I don't think you're ready for that.
I'll see it May 20th. You can come on with it. Hey, we'll be at Martin, Michigan too in August. So come on, god dang it.
You guys have one in St. Louis too as well, don't you?
No, not this year. There won't be. But Tulsa will happen. Right. September. So, but yeah, man. Y'all, it's cool. I'm gonna be watching y'all this whole time. So it's awesome, man.
I'll get out my wire pliers and get that pump sealed up for you.
I just put a KG on it. KG, you're good. All right, man. We'll see y'all.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
Later.
Thanks.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro-burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good-looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Man, how about that? Joseph and David Gallegos of Nitro Chaos, Nitro Clown Motorsports. And like I said, they'll be debuting that Outlaw Top Fuel Dragster out at Nitro Chaos at Edgewater Motorsports Park next weekend for the Nitro Chaos season opener. What an interview, Michael. That was amazing. Yeah,
I mean, how can you not root for that? I mean, father-son team, I'm sure, it's a whole family deal. Just, we had the father-son deal, but, father-son duo right there, got some great pedigree on where they've been and what they've done. They've done all the steps. And now, I mean, you looking in the background over there, in that shop, man, they're loaded up. That's full on commitment right there. But, I'm definitely going to be watching that young man. I'm hoping that, they end up, and I bet they will. They'll come out and play with us one time. But you never know. I might go play with them just for the heck of it, just so we can go out there and do it. I'll just show up and say, today's your day, Joseph. Today's your day.
Yeah. I love how they have the Top Fuel car on display, the Big Show Nitro funny car. That's Matt Hagen's Smithfield sponsor funny car that he ran, I believe, at Richmond last season. And so got that on display and got the body of the car that they corrected in the cornfield up on top. So if you guys don't know, David ended up in the corn. Is that Kearney or Eddyville that has the corn? I always forget.
I think it was Eddyville, wasn't it? I think it was Eddyville.
One of them has a cornfield. He ended up in the cornfield, so that was big time. And Kurt Borden, he comments, says, Gallegos, go to Boise. That's a great race right there.
Yeah.
And Cal Huff says, the cornfields of Iowa and Illinois are no joke. Gary Wheeler,
that's another dude that's going to be running his car here pretty quick. I think next weekend, maybe. I think he's going out to go make some. He's going to get out there and make his license runs and everything.
Brian Hall says, we need these people to race with us. Great interview.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you mentioned that. I'm actually going to Bakersfield this weekend for the American Nostalgia Racing Series to cover that this Sunday. So we may see some out there testing or something. I don't know.
Yeah. You know, he was going to. I can't remember exactly what, but I was pretty for sure he was going to Bakersfield. But maybe I was wrong. I've had so many dang conversations with him in the past month or so. But yeah, he'll probably say something in a minute. But yeah, he should be getting ready to come on with it. Hell, you never know. We might see him at Vandermeer.
Okay. Love to see it. Love to see it. Can't wait to see Kyle behind the wheel of that Top Fuel Dragster, man. Kyle, that's a badass right there. Kyle Huff.
Yeah, we're ready for him to get his car out there for sure.
All right, so we are about 10 minutes behind schedule, and Bobby is out there on the East Coast. I know he's probably ready to get to bed. So ready for our next guest, Michael?
I'm ready.
Ladies and gentlemen, Bobby Hilton is next. Bobby, how's it going, man?
What's happening, guys?
Can you hear me okay? I told you I have my mic on. Can you hear me?
What's that? Speak up, boys.
He told me beforehand. Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I'm cool. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
So let's jump right into it because, like I said, we're about 10 minutes behind showtime, and I know you're busy. But Nitro Chaos next weekend, Edgewater Motorsports Park. You've raced a lot in the Heritage Series, but racing at Edgewater, easy decision, not far from your hometown. You've raced there in the past, so tell us about you guys racing out of Edgewater next weekend.
Well, I mean, Edgewater, man, was a track that my father raced at. That's where our racing half of the family started in the 50s. That track's been there since the 50s. It ran divisional races in NHRA, which we raced UDRA top fuel shows all through the 70s. So it's about 10 minutes from our home. And so that's the big part of the reason. The family that owns it, the Weinley family, they've been owning it for 30 or 40 years. So their father was great friends with my father. So that's a big part of it. We want to get my dad to one more drag race. That's another part of it. So, and we want to check out this chaos racing. It's different. It's tough for a heritage spec car to compete with them, but we're going to give it a good shot.
And so you mentioned that, are you guys going to change your engine combination since there's no rules, or are you going to keep it illegal?
No way. I mean, that car will run 370s, and it'll run 212 to the 8th, and that's plenty to race down there. And it's nighttime racing in April, and that racetrack's sitting on a river. So the game plan is just go out and go A to B, A to B, A to B. So, yeah.
Hey, Michael, they're ready to haul, man. They're ready to haul.
Yeah, we won't change anything with that car. We're not even really. I'm not going to call it a test because it's not. It's Chris Graves him and Tara put a great effort out to make these great events. So I wouldn't say we're testing. That wouldn't be the right thing to say. We're going there to race to win.
Yeah, especially with how many cars are there. Going at what everybody that's pre-entered and what's going on. How are you feeling about some of these cars that you're going to be racing against, knowing that okay, hey, this is I don't want to say outlaw, but it's run what you brung versus we normally run, where we're stuck with certain rules and everything.
Well, I mean, I believe in the NHRA Heritage Series. I believe in their class. I believe in their rules package. I believe in all of it. Like I said, Chris has hit a super niche, man. It's that time in life where everybody wants it wide open, and so that's where he's hit his niche. And this all nitro, I think, is even more impressive than the funny car chaos because it's letting anybody with nitro run, right? I mean, there's potential 340 cars there all day, big pump, twin mag, big show cars, and Megan's coming there with that A fuel car, I mean, so it'll be exciting. Like I said, I think a consistent car shows in the funny car chaos, a good consistent, we'll say 360 car, low 70 car will win that race. Yeah, at 10 or 11 o'clock at night on that river, I'll guarantee you.
And I think the weather's looking a little almost kind of iffy too. Might be another little cold front blowing through. Y'all still getting cold weather up there, correct?
Not really, man. That's all behind us. Most of the racetracks have opened up, and our next heritage race is Bowling Green, and that's not that far off. So we've got a lot of news coming out of Cincinnati here in the next 3 or 4 weeks. So we'll be busy.
And you mentioned some of that news. We're going to talk about some of that in just a little bit. But just going back to Nitro Chaos and the rules and stuff like that, like I said, it's no rules. But isn't it limited to 80% Nitro, though? Correct me if I'm wrong.
85, am I right? I'm pretty sure it's got to be a minimum of 85. I don't know how Chris chases that, you know what I mean? But our car, man, it doesn't run but about 83%. So we'll have 84 or 85 in it down there for sure. It's run a lot of nitro.
And so Tyler obviously is competing in an event, but you're also bringing out a second car, correct? Tell us about that.
At that race, Tyler's going to be testing a big pump car down there for a fellow named Dennis Mitchell. He bought that race car. Him and Cliff had never owned a nitro car in their life. They didn't even know what they were. We became friends through the internet. They came with the races with us 2 or 3 times. So then anyhow, they've made their way through the whole process. Jake Sanders worked on it for a week. 2 weeks ago. They went over there. They came through us first, put a clutch in it. It's got a 4-disc clutch in it. Went on over to Indy and stayed with Jake for about 4 days. And Jake built an entire new fuel system for it, pumps, nozzles. So anyhow, they're pretty excited to run it. Tyler's going to drive it for him, and I just hope he don't like it too much.
I got you.
Yeah. So that'll be our outing down there. We won't take 2 of our own race cars. I still have a Chevrolet car sitting there. It's sitting there, service ready to start. We also have the small block car that we purchased from Michael. We went ahead and did all the updates, and got it 100% heritage legal. We thought that we were going to run it, but I'm not really sure right now. So we're gonna come out with a little bit more.
And then, like I said, there's so many cars to keep up with because you mentioned that car, but then there's also another car that you bought as well from the Crone family, Cody Crone.
That's the car we're talking about. So originally the whole vision was to put my brother in a race car. He never really got the chance. When I was a kid, I started driving my dad's nitro car and wadded it up about a half a season into it. So my brother never really got a chance at it. And so then life went on. He's been very successful in business, and he's obviously the one that helped us get the car we have now. So the game plan was to get him in a top quality car, and to try to start from scratch and buy Hemis right now, particularly early models, it ain't gonna happen. it ain't going to happen. You're not going to get them from Donovan. They don't make Rodax no more, and I don't want no late models. So that class rules for that Heritage Series were written around that 417. So all that said, Cody Crone, which you just had on your show not long ago, I think on Competition Plus or Between the Slicks or something, him and his father built him a nostalgia top fuel car with a lot of influence from the car we have now, through Boggs, through McKinney, through the whole deal. So we flew down there in January and looked at it, my brother and I, and then so we bought the whole thing, truck, trailer, car, everything. They were ready to go racing, and then Cody got in Dixon's car and licensed in Gainesville, and now is driving an A fuel car and is very successful at it. So they just felt like it was time to get out of front motor top fuel racing before they even got started. So that's the plan. They're going to deliver it on the 4th of May. We're going to put my brother right in it. Going to go to Indy to an NDRL race and finish that licensing process. I'd like to see it at Bowling Green. If my brother is not ready by Bowling Green, we'd consider putting somebody in it, and we've talked to some folks about getting them in it. I want to make sure there's a full field of cars at Bowling Green. I'll take it personally to make sure there's a full field because I got 4 of them sitting in the garage. So that's half the field right there, right?
And drivers are a dime a dozen, right?
That's right, man. There's plenty of drivers. There's some good drivers on the West Coast for sure. So, yeah, that's where we're headed with that. We're very excited. That's a top quality car, man. All the stuff's new. It's all Donovan stuff. It's the car we have now is Rodax, and this is all Donovan. We're really fortunate with the relationship that we've made with the Bartone and Labor families. They're great people, man. I talk to Michael just about every day. So we're fortunate to have that car. We really are. It's going to take us way down the road in this class. Yeah.
So is the plan coming down the road even before Bowling Green or maybe even after Bowling Green to race any more chaos races, or is this kind of let's go see how it is because it's in my back door?
That's a big part of it, man. Like I said, we're too committed to that heritage class rules package wise. I mean, never say never, you know. I mean, it's definitely an option for us. Those races are really off the schedule of the heritage group, so you could do it, you know what I mean? But like I said, I think Chris has done a great job. He really does a great job on social media. He does a great job with the purse structure, with sponsorship. Murph McKinney's come on with that race at Edgewater, and we're supporting Murph in every way we can. You know, I've known him since I was 17, man. We raced funny cars together. So we want to support him just as much as we want to support Chris and the rest of them.
And you mentioned that, you know, like you said, we've been talking a lot about Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos on this show, and it's gotten so big over the past couple of years since its first debuted. You know, what is there some stuff that we can take from Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos and what Graves is doing and stuff like that and bring it to the Heritage Series to make it grow? Anything you can, you think?
Well, I mean, man, I think they get to draw from a bigger pool of cars, obviously. But if you look at that race at Edgewater, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Heritage Series top fuel cars running there. You know what I mean? Now look, it's Julia's, it's that Chevy off the East Coast, it's the fellow from Tennessee, Troy Ray, it's the Grand Prix car, it's us. So there's 5 cars, man. That's almost an 8-car show. Why are they drawing there? I'm not sure. You know, a lot of it's perception, I'm sure. A lot of it's perception. I mean, the Heritage Series right now for the top fuel cars is having a tough way to go. You know, it really is. But we're going to get it straight. We're going to get it straight, and we're going to support it right down the line.
For me, what I think it is they don't want to run 1,320 feet. I will keep saying that till I'm blue in the face. 1,320 feet gets everybody all jacked up. 660 foot, it's half track racing, baby. Half track racing.
Well, I mean, look, though, I don't know. I'll agree to disagree on that one because you've already got Julius. He's running the fives. That Chevy
Yeah.
on the East Coast, it's run fives, I believe.
Yeah.
Grand Prix cars definitely running the fives, so they all know what quarter mile racing is. I don't know what. Look, it's a good centered location, Cincinnati. You know, I mean, that track right now, they just went through a big improvement to be able to get it. They want a points meet back in there bad. You know what I mean? A divisional or whatever, regional. They want to get it back in there, and so they've done a lot of work with retaining walls. That racetrack's glued up like a slot car track. So, yeah, it's a good racetrack.
And like I said, the only reason why I ask is because, you know, I respect everything that Corey Graves and everybody over there is doing. From where it first started to where it is now, they are huge. I mean, the car counts, you know, where they race out on the schedule, money wise, just everything, sponsorship wise, social media wise, they have just grown out of here. And I was just wondering if there's something that what they're doing that we can take and bring it over into the Heritage Series to make it grow. So that's the only reason why I asked, you know, trying to take some little
I
dynamics.
get what you're saying. I get what you're saying entirely, man. And also it's Chris. He's very committed to what he does. You know what I mean? So but take what can you take away from it for the Heritage Series? Get more focused, man. Get more focused, you know, on what we're doing. And that's what it's all about. Chris calls the shots. He calls the shots. It's his racing series. He promotes the tracks. He goes to the tracks. He brings it in there and makes it happen. And if there's anything to take away from it, that's what it is. I'll go back to it, man. Like I said, I'm a big supporter of the Heritage Series. I think we got to have it for these cars we have. I think Chris's series is great, man. But do I want to run it all the time? No. I want to run NHRA Heritage Racing. I think it's at the highest level of racing that we can do with these cars, period. You know, so whatever.
You know,
I'm in agreement with him on that one.
No,
for sure.
And I think we're going in the right direction, you know, with everything that Michael Anderson and Jim Young has done, the money they've brung in, the sponsorships, and then the car counts that we've gotten, you know, even at the March meet and the biggest purse ever in March meet history. So we're going in the right direction. It's just like, how do we continue to grow, you know? So.
Absolutely. I mean, we need to stay going in that direction. You know, sometimes you take 2 steps back to go 1 step forward. I'm not giving up on it. You know, we just bought another race car, you know. I want to have some races to go to. I think we have to be very careful. It's a fragile class. It really is. It's a fragile class, that series of top fuel cars. So we just all need to be together. I think it's a great series. I think there's great racers in it. Yeah, you know what I mean? I think we're headed in the right direction, Darren. We really are. And it shows like it's the show like you're doing tonight. This is a hell of a platform, man. What Bobby's done, what you've done, you know, Bobby Bennett, what you've done, give us this platform to be able to showcase what we do, you know, and you've got sponsors looking at it. You've got track promoters looking at it. You've got everybody looking at it. So we need to keep it at a high level.
I agree.
So what, you know, with going into the Bowling Green race, how did you feel about, you know, the whole rebranding of the race on the reunions to the Wally Parks, you know, Memorial Museum deal? I mean, do you feel like that was a deal that was going to help move some stuff forward?
I mean, I knew it was going to happen before it happened. You know what I mean? I knew it was going to happen. We had a lot of good conversations with Blake Bowser and some different people. Eventually, I think, you know, talking out of school a little bit, that the museum wants to get out of the drag racing business. You know what I mean? They don't want to be in the drag racing business. So eventually, they'll brand it as their event, but it doesn't mean that they'll run the event. You know, that's what's going to happen. Do I think it's a good thing? Yeah, I think it's great, man. Look, Steve Gibbs has got the fall covered up for the cackle guys. He does, man. If you go to the fall races in October, you're going to go to Irwindale and you're going to go to Steve Gibbs' event. That's what he does. So why keep whipping the horse, man? Just say, hey, Steve, have at it. You're doing a great job, man. And we'll have us a world finals of Heritage Series point racing at the fall event. And the same can be said for Bowling Green. That's what will eventually happen. The deal with Bowling Green is with the cackle and the push start cars, they need them on Saturday night because that's the conclusion of their race. That's their fireworks, man. Them cars come down through their start and pulling off. That's their fireworks. Saturday night, that race is over. It's not like Bakersfield that has a Sunday. So we have continued to help promote them to have good cackle cars there for the fans for Saturday night. But as far as the heritage racing, I think it's going to be great, man. We're going to be able to focus more on drag racing.
Gotcha.
That's what I think, So I think the changes with the honorees, they're not going to do honorees. That's the only thing really that changes in that whole situation. They'll still have a grand marshal. Be Gartless and Snake's going to do it in October. They'll still have the deal on Friday night at the hotel. Everything will be the same except for honorees, really. That's it,
Gotcha. And that's one thing that I definitely don't want to see go away is, that at whatever level the cackle cars being there, I like at all of our races. First of all, at least a good dozen of them there to showcase where we started and where we're at now. And fans like that stuff, man. They love seeing those old cars. They're great show cars and put on a great show for fans.
Well, I mean, I know you've probably been to Bowling Green to see the race. You haven't participated in one yet, but that is a huge part. They have a really solid fan base in Bowling Green for our race. What is it? How many years? How many years it is? 20, 30? I don't know. Yeah. So it's a really solid fan base, and they come to expect Saturday night cackles, and they come to expect Nitro cars. They're going to have a hell of a show of funny cars there this year. I mean, the Dragster is going to have to step up and get it together, man, because look, them Legends guys are going to be running at Bristol the weekend right before, and they're all coming to Bowling Green. Eddie Knox, they're all coming, Yeah. They're all going to come.
Hey, you heard it first on Kings of the Sport. There's going to be some funny cars.
I'm sorry, Michael, what?
I said you heard it first, but on Kings of the Sport, there's going to be funny cars there.
Well, I mean, that's always been a point of contention at Bowling Green because they would, I mean, look, Bucky came one time, Haran's come a couple times. They always said they didn't have funny cars there, but I'm telling you, this year I would expect to see at least 10, and maybe more. Like I said, it'll be Moniz, Wyndham, Knox. I don't know whether Bucky's coming. I think Haran's coming. So it's going to be a top quality funny car show. But what that says is the Dragster's got to work hard to put a good show on. And I think we can do it. I really do. I think you guys get in there. We'll all put on a show for them.
Oh man, yep. Michael, I love me some funny cars. We got a question from Robert Steffens. He says, do you have a car count for Bowling Green?
I don't personally, you know what I mean? All I can do is count them up in my head. I mean, like I said, I got 4 of them if I had to have them. So thanks to my brother and my family and friends, but I don't know. I hope to see 8. I think we'll have 10. They're going to run that 6.0 class. So there's a opportunity for cars to run that if you don't get in the 8-car show. I'd expect to see 8 to 10. I mean, just like Phil and them guys from Canada, they kept their car out here.
Right.
So they're going to be there for sure. That's a car. Brendan will come. I'm hoping Bobby will come and Murphy, so, and you, Michael, I don't know. You don't know till the day comes.
It's like herding cats. It's like herding cats. I'm telling you right now.
I don't want to get into the conversation of it here. Like I said, I would hope to have 8 cars.
That's what this show's for. And every son of a gun that races with us out there, they know it. Y'all son of a bitches is like herding cats whenever it comes to getting to these races. They need to know that. I've said it first. I'll say it again.
Look, the racetrack deserves it. The series deserves it. and we all got our act together. It's time to come on.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So let's now transition now, because like I said, you're owner, crew chief of Great Expectations, and there's a lot of history within that car. But let's go back and now focus on you a little bit. Teenage Terror, you're one of the youngest guys to ever get your Top Fuel license. You got your Top Fuel license before you even got your street car license. So, just talk about your start in Top Fuel back in the day.
Well, you've been looking at Phil Burgess's article. Yeah, that was a great article, right? That Teenage Terrors of the 70s. So it was myself, Jeb, Randy Allison, John Stewart, and I think Fred Mooneyham, little Freddie Mooneyham. So I think that's the right group. Yeah. So it was a well-written series of a weekly series he wrote. So yeah, I started driving fuel cars when I was 15. Drove my dad's top fuel car, John Hilton. Like I said, I wadded it up about halfway through the first season down in Rockingham, and wore a cast, 2 of them, for about 9 months. And it was about the time when LaHaye was having his crash. We raced with them guys every weekend, man, at UDR. But anyhow, I was young and dumb, and you know what, man, I just was legging it. And anyhow, I blew the supercharger off. I would cut the back tire off, and that was a time we didn't have arm restraints or anything, so it broke my arms up pretty bad. So my dad never really rebuilt. He tried a little bit, and him and I tried together. And then I went on and drove some other cars. I drove a car, Gold Digger, top fuel car, a car called a Hot Tuna, Starliner for Alan Starr down North Carolina. That's where I met Bonnie Bennett. So yeah, and then I started driving Jim and Al's car in about 79, and started staying at the farm. And they had a good-looking young daughter named Diane. And next thing you know, I wasn't driving her car no more. I stayed with them there almost 3 years, about 3 years, and then Diane and I went back to Cincinnati, and I went on tour. We went to Australia, spent quite a long time in Australia. I drove funny cars for Fred Castanova, a custom body car. So yeah, we had a good time, man, all through the 70s and the 80s. Jeb was a great friend. We went on tour with him for a couple of years. It was when you had a dually, maybe a spare short block, a CB radio, and you made all your calls at the end of the day on the payphone. So that's how we raced. We raced the whole NHRA series, a lot of IHRA. We raced both series at the same time. So we were racing every weekend, man. It was a lot different. We still tore the cars apart every run. They all came apart. Clutch didn't come out. Pistons came out. But yeah, that's what we did all the way into the mid 80s. And then I just quit. That was it, man. Jeb and I built a funny car for a guy named Bill Dunlap called Captain Crazy. And I saw the handwriting on the wall. When I showed up, there was 5 KBs sitting on the floor to be assembled. And I'm like, what in the hell am I doing, man? And so we raced together that summer, and then that was it. I went home, and we didn't race again for 30 years. And went steeplechase horse racing.
Because that's definitely a better idea.
Yeah, no, well, we didn't race the horses. We built a facility called Great Meadow, which is a 500-acre equestrian facility right there in the plains. And been there about 40 years. Built it from scratch. Then the hell, man, we got into hot rods about 15 years ago. Started building hot rods. We've been very successful with that. Tony Lombardi and I at Ross, where I'm at tonight, partnered up, and we build high-end traditional hot rods. So just finished a new shop doing that. We're in Virginia. He's in Ohio, and the race car's in Ohio. So that's where we're at. Yep.
Let's look at a young Bobby Hilton. Young Bobby Hilton right there.
Yeah, that was about 78, probably 77. I started driving one when I was 70. Well, there's Jim and Al. Yeah, that's me. Alice in the middle, Jimmy on the left. Yep. Yeah, those are some good photos there, and you stole those from Phil too.
Okay. I got one for you though.
Okay.
I love this photo right here. Here we go. Tell us
Oh
about
yeah,
this
there you go.
badass car
That's
right
a
here
good
against
quote.
Shirley Muldowney.
Yeah, that was at Columbus. That car was built by a fellow named Lester Guillory in Louisiana. He built all that body was all hand built, gas welded aluminum. I think it was a little bit before its time. The car ran good. I was telling Darren today we won some big IHRA races, 25,000, 15,000 to win races. Beat Thorpe in the final and won, and beat Coletta in the final and another. And I was telling him that car won Division I and Division II championship in a single year. Beat Dixon's dad in the final at Gainesville for it. So yeah, we ran English or Epping, man, for the Division I championship. That was look, man. When you ran points meets back then, Gary Beck showed up, Krahulis, Connie, Shirley. Yeah, they were all at the point because that's how you raced for points back then. Was you ran all the divisionals. You had to run. I think you had to run 3 or 5 divisional races as well as the national events. So wanted to win an NHRA national event really bad, man. But I made a lot of poor decisions when I was young. And one of them was being a hothead, which I probably have that same. I have that same following today. You know what I mean? But I was impatient. I was a hothead, and I knew everything, and nobody knew nothing. You know what I mean? And so I made a lot of poor decisions. I think I could have went further with my racing myself if I'd have just, but I couldn't do it. So.
Just life. It's just life.
No, we started with Tyler in 16 or 17. I thought we were going to go 7-0 racing, and we went 7-0 racing one day, one time, and that was it. I was like, man, the car ran 660 on the first run. Then it ran 690. I left throttle stop on it. It ran 690. Or no, it ran 7-0. Then it ran 7-0 with the throttle stop on it. I'm like, I'm done with this shit. The next thing we did was put the safety gear on it, went and got licensed for Nostalgia Top Fuel. So, and then it's morphed. It's morphed just like anything else, Michael. You know what I mean? I mean, I thought the Chevy was the way to go. I thought it was a niche motor, and I poured so much money into it. It was crazy. I poured so much money into that thing. And we were successful. I mean, we ran the quickest and fastest times ever with a big block, but we were blowing it up. We were experimenting too much. And so anyhow, you know, it just morphed and it morphed and it morphed. So to be able to get with Michael Bartone and Tony Laborde and be able to purchase this car was the smartest business decision my brother and I ever made in our life. If we won a heritage race, you know, and I don't give a damn. You know what I mean? I'm here to win drag races, so I don't care about the rest of them.
Well, you know, and it goes back to talking about that Chevrolet. You know, it's that's one of the cool things about our class is you have that option with multiple motors to be able to run. But whenever you really want to be competitive at this level, like you said, at this highest level of racing with these kind of cars, you know, you got to make that right decision eventually and be like, hey, here's where we're at. You know,
it was going to put us in the poorhouse, man. You know what I mean? It just really was. I mean, that car would run 580s all day. It really would. And every time we try to step on it, put a little bit of camshaft in it, you know, we were blowing it up. So, no, it was a good decision. It's a good decision to go on and buy this other car because just like I said, you can't call up and buy a Donovan today. You're not going to do it. And you ain't going to call up and buy no Rodak today. You're not going to do it. So what's your option? You can do what you did to try to find some parts and put them together, but to go out and buy new parts, you're not going to do it. You know what I mean?
ain't gonna happen. I know because I called everybody.
Well, you have to take advantage of these situations if you want to do this type of racing and buy these operations because look, there's still 2 or 3 of them sitting out there right now that are more than capable of running 560s all day, but they got to be bought. They're not doing it sitting in the garage.
Right.
You just got to make the right decisions to get the right ones. So that's my spiel, you know. Like I said, everybody get ready. We're ready.
There's no doubt, man. It's been a hell of a ride so far, man, and it's been fun to watch. I mean, it's crazy for me because you get to kind of see and talk with everybody about what's going on, and then I've only been doing it a year now, a year and some change, and the evolution that's just happened with everybody's stuff, even in that, and stuff that I know that's going on even with other teams, and it's going to be some damn interesting racing coming. June, August, September. I mean, hell, let's just go to the last race of the season. One, we're sitting here talking to the number one qualified team for the March meet. Then two, you also got to be racing at the California Hot Rod reunion. So I mean, the end of this year is going to be just crazy with what all goes on with this racing.
Well, you look here, man. The Heritage Series, to run the full series is not for everybody. It's probably only for a very small handful of people. Why did I choose to do it? Hell, I don't know. First time we ever put the car together, I told my dad, we're going to Boise, Idaho. He goes, what? You can't find someplace closer to run that car than Boise, Idaho? I'm like, no, man. Tyler had 6 runs in a race car. But that's how I was raised, man. I want to run the national events, and these are national events. It's not for everybody. And I think maybe that's where Chris's series does well, because it gives you an option to run a car at a little bit different level. I'm not saying it's less of a level. It's a different level. It's not as much travel involved, a little bit less on parts. There's still a good purse involved. That's why he does well. To run this series is tough, man. Now, hell, at one time we went from Cincinnati to Seattle and ran for Good Guys, then came back to Boise and ran Boise and went from Boise to Spokane. You know what I mean? And did it without coming back home. So it's just how bad do you want it, how much time you can take away. I base everything that we do, Tony does. I mean, this is a huge sacrifice for everyone. Everyone that brings a race car to the racetrack, it's a sacrifice. Some people may sacrifice more or less, but to get these cars to the races is a hell of an effort. Money-wise, time-wise, effort, everything. I mean, while we're talking, that's a little bit why we were disappointed in Bakersfield. I mean, it was. We had put a hell of an effort out to get there, to get there. No different than Sean, no different than you. So that's why we were a little disappointed. But that's water under the bridge, man. We're going to go there, and I want all-in trophies. That's what I want. I want one real big one. I want one of the triangle, and I want one of them big wallies. That's what I want. So that's what we're going after. And all we did was make it a little bit more of a challenge. Yep.
Yeah. It's going to be a hell of a year in. There might be a little bit of we might even be able to get him to drink a beer after that race. I know he don't drink much anymore, but
beer, man. I ain't drink. Yeah. I haven't drank it. Look, I told you I made some poor decisions when I was young.
But after that weekend, he might change his mind.
I've been drinking about 40 years, man. Most people think that I do, but I don't. When I'm steaming, I'm buzzed, but I'm not.
I'll tell you who will. Tony Lombardi will. I guarantee you. He'll have one.
Tyler, he likes to have a cocktail or two. He would have liked to have been on this show tonight. He's busy. He started a new art. He's an art major, so he's trying to get his head right, man. But anyhow, he's started a new web page for his artwork that he's having a good time with, and he lives right with a race car. He lives in an apartment right with a race car, so sometimes he gets his fill of that car, and so he's doing that, and he just thought he'd let me get on here and yap a little bit. Watching Joseph and his father, I know exactly how he feels, man. You know what I mean? I really do. In the beginning, I don't know, man. I pushed Tyler. I probably pushed him harder than I should. I mean, everybody knows it. I mean, with him and I, we go at it every now and then. I ain't scared to. It's all right. We're more like brothers than we are father and son. And So we have a good time with it, though. We're very, very competitive racers, and that's why we're here. That's why we're here, man. You know, these cars, as much y'all want to think that they're grassroots, Michael, they ain't grassroots, man. Not when they're and they got billet blocks in them, and we're taking 8 pistons and a clutch out of that thing every run. It ain't grassroots. It's high level professional racing with the motor sitting in front of you. That's what it is, you know. So that's my opinion.
No, well, you know, whenever I say that, I mean it's more like not the cars. It's us, you know, as individuals. We're not corporate, you know, racers. You know, like yeah. Whenever I say that deal, is, you know, I go to work in the morning. You know, I go do stuff. So I'm not sitting there calling Skag or, you know, I don't even know whatever other damn deal, you know, trying to drum up some stuff. I'm just wanting to have them pump jacks going like this. That's what I need to have happen.
Well, I mean, that's your sponsor, though, right? That's your sponsor, right?
That's it.
You know, Tony and I was here tonight doing a EFI tune on a 392 Heavy and a 30 sedan. That's our sponsor.
That's it.
See, that's what we do to generate money to be able to do this. So it's at a high level. You can't look your head the other way, because if you do, you're kidding yourself. You really are.
No, there's no doubt about that, man. There's no doubt. So, anything exciting going on at Bowling Green? Any exciting stuff? I mean, are we gonna be like racing a 2-speed car? I mean, is there going to be some money thrown out there? What's going on? I mean, you know, word around the campfire is that Bobby Hilton has laid it out, baby. We're going, and I know Mike will. I know Mike will lay out some shit.
Yeah.
So are we going to see it happen, Captain, or what's going to go on? Because I want to see it happen.
You know, I decided about 2 or 3 shows ago that Darren was having that I'd had enough. You know what I mean? Because I just had, man. I think Darren's put together a great platform, just like I said, and we need to be thanking our sponsors. We need to be thanking Redline and Blower Shop and CP, Ross Racing Engines, my brother, Hoosier Tire, and the people that get us to the racetrack, not the other bullshit. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't get us anywhere. What this show is about is promoting our class. So I just decided at that point, you know, the social media part of it was not for me, other than to promote our race car, to promote my race shop and my hot rod shop. So I put that all behind us, Michael. You know what I mean? All I can say is, if you want to race, bring your race car to the racetrack, man, and we'll race. You know, let me tell you what, that race that we had in the fall in October was the best top fuel race in the NHRA Heritage Series that there's been in 10 years. Guarantee you, man, all day, because it was a slugfest in the qualifying sessions. It went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. It had a 588, 585 bump, actually, with a 550 run thrown in the middle and a Cinderella story at the end. So what else could you ask for, you know?
Right.
And so we wanted to keep it rolling in the March meet, and it didn't work. Like I said, that's water under the bridge, and now we're going to go to Bowling Green. Right there. Yeah, Dennis and that big pump car, that'll be a car to watch at that Chaos racing. Let me tell you what, that dude's 200 inches long. The motor is on the rear end housing. It's got a 4-disc clutch in it, about a 6-foot wheelie bar, and a 30-gallon fuel pump on it. So I mean, it's gonna rock. If they can get it to go straight, it's gonna rock. I'm excited for Tyler to sit in it, actually.
And Dennis Mitchell's a really cool dude, man. Like, I've got to meet him a couple of times, had some conversations with him. He's just a good guy, man. Like that group that him and his buddy, I guess, they're working on the car.
Yeah,
they really love it. Like they're really into it. They're working on that thing every day. And I if I remember right, it kind of started out like they were just going to kind of get it and cackle it, and do whatever. And then it's just they've just kind of gone on with the car now. And now within a year, it's time to go racing. which is, you know, we all know how hard it is to get these cars to that point. And hats off to Dennis and his group, and y'all for helping, and the other fellow for doing all that stuff, man, because it takes a lot of folks to get one to make it to the track.
Well, they when they came to our place and Tyler put the clutch in it, it was cool to see him and Cliff doing it because they wanted to do it. They're not going, you know, they were doing it because I mean, look, they're my age, you know, I guess you could call us old guys. I don't know. But they were running around, man, just having a blast. You know, they stayed there till midnight. They drove to Indy that night, got a hotel and stayed over there for a week putting that car together. So that they just did it because they love it and they want to do it, you know. I mean, I've been helping another fella, Gerald Hagney, he's outside Pennsylvania. We did some swapping. He's got a big block car. He's run a few times at Bowling Green. He run a couple times with Extreme Group. So we got him another short block. We're going to get him back going again. We did a little swapping. He actually painted our trailer. Did a hell of a job. So we did a little swapping, got him a short block he's picking up during the Chaos race. So, oh, hell, don't let me forget, Darren. We're having an open house Thursday night. Yeah. Here's the address. You see that? There it is.
There you go.
112 Mill Street, Laughlin, Ohio. And it's gonna be cool, man. If you just need to come one time. There's some crazy good collector cars there. My brother bought that Tom Hanna car. That Tom Hanna built, that's there. He bought, he actually found a 66, 65 Ram Chargers car and had it restored. I have about 3 of my dad's cars. He's got 3 fuel altered. He's got some Bonneville cars. He's got that Mob fuel altered off the West Coast. It was so popular. Ran a lot of Boise races. So yeah, and then we got the other cars there. We're gonna have some chow there. It'd be fun for everybody to come to. I want everybody to come. I told Joseph that. It's on Thursday night. So I think if you go to that race, Darren, you'll be setting up on Thursday, maybe Friday morning, but most folks will get there on Thursday. And we're only about 10 minutes from the racetrack. So.
Okay. Hey, Bobby, text me that information. I'm gonna put it in the description of the show. Text text to me. Yeah. Text after the show.
Yeah, it's plenty of parking, big asphalt parking lot. It's kind of a cool place, man. It's a little village. My brothers managed to own just about all the buildings. And the race shop's there, Tyler's art studio's there, the apartment's there. So it's pretty cool. No Woolworths.
I'm going to tell you right now, if I ever get around that Hanna car and it's gone, don't come looking at my house at all.
That thing's grown roots, man. That thing will, if it ever moves, it'll be with a sky hook because it's grown roots where it's sitting. Gibbs worries me to death every time we talk, man. Brother's got to buy that car. Your brother's got to. They coming out, man.
Darren, I was in on that auction. I was in on that car, man. Like I was like, this has just gotten crazy. But yeah, that car is just something. It's just a work of damn art. It's just awesome. That's a bad ride.
Tyler's done a good job getting it all straightened out down there. My brother likes to keep everything in a pile. So we kind of got the pile separated a little bit. You know, there's a lot of vintage parts, whether it's superchargers, injectors, motors, paraphernalia, you know, signage, just everything, stuff from our old days and magazines. It's cool. Y'all have to come. Well, you won't be there and you won't be there.
I got to put my car together.
I'll make it down someday.
What Monday Racer, what's his name? I'm sorry.
Lee Craft.
Lee, he's coming because I invited him. Yeah.
Yeah, he'll be there.
Yeah, he's great, man.
He covers all the funny car chaos, nitro chaos stuff. Yeah, he'll be there.
You brought him by the trailer at Bakersfield right when we were warming that thing up, man. He got the biggest face full. It was awesome, man. You brought him up in the trailer.
hey, Michael. So Lee Craft, he walks up right when I'm warming up. I'm in the background trying to
It was that cold morning too, man. Nothing wanted to warm up. All I wanted to do was run, you know.
Yeah, nitro everywhere. I was like, "Whoo, man!" It's like,
that Lee, he's definitely got a big dose of it at the March meet. He was pretty stoked about that. I feel like he's probably going to be coming back to watch that, or even at the Hot Rod reunion. He talked to me a little bit, throughout the deal, and even at the Funny Car Chaos whenever I went and ran my little red car, and he was talking about how much he had a good time, and it was a good deal. So yeah, it only takes one time.
Where's he in? Is he in North Carolina, Darren? Where's he?
South Carolina.
South Carolina. Yeah.
South Carolina. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. We have
but he's barely at home though. He travels to every freaking race. Like he goes from Albuquerque, New Mexico to Phoenix to Vegas to Pomona to he's everywhere.
Oh yeah, he's all over the place. He was just in Vegas last week, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
We have great friends there in South Carolina. Richard Harmon, Phil Harmon, Jay Ed, and them. They built that first car for us, and so we were spending a lot of time in South Carolina. Yeah. So had to throw their names in there, but you got a great platform there. Let's use it to our advantage.
I appreciate that. And I appreciate you coming on and taking the time out. And I know it's late on the East Coast. I know it's 10:45. And so I know you're a busy man, but any final thoughts, Bobby? Any final thoughts?
I spent a lot of time in the truck today, Darren.
I got you. I got you.
Yeah. I spent a lot of time in the truck today, getting it rigged. TV.
Well, Bobby, man, like I said, I appreciate you coming on to episode 10 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. Take your time out. Like I said, I know you're a busy man, and I'll catch up with you soon. I think I'll see you again in most likely Boise, Idaho for the Night Fire Nationals.
Get up there. I invited all the folks from CP up there. Hopefully Snake and Brian and all them guys will come up. The new family are great, man. I mean, Michael ran up there last year. We've been going there, like I said, since 16, maybe 15. I just take cars out to their roadster show, to the Boise Roadster Show. It's a good family. Their whole aura is based around nostalgia racing. That's what they're there for. So they got their Igniter coming up here soon. I wish I could go with Bartones, but we have a big horse race that day. I've got to throw that in there too.
Awesome. Right. Well, man, appreciate you coming on the show and hanging out, kind of giving your backstory and where you at, where you going, and where you been, man. It's going to be an exciting year for sure.
Well, we're not done yet. Everybody, get ready.
That's right.
I'll send you some pictures of that new car, man.
There you go.
All right, thanks, Bobby. Take care, man.
See you later.
Get your CompetitionPlus.com apparel today. Whether it's our nitro burning funny car design or the vibrant door slammer design, we have the swag to show you are always in the know. Get yourself a hat too. And we know not everyone enjoys wearing a mask, but if you must wear one, at least wear a good looking one. Check out the new CompetitionPlusApparel.com for the latest from the place where you have trusted for your news on the internet for over 2 decades.
Make sure to get your Competition Plus apparel today.
I'll be damned. I mean, I feel like we've got some damn fancy commercials going on this deal. Like in 10 episodes, we're up to like 4 commercials already. We're going to be like Channel 3 here before too long. We'll be like 5 minutes of us and the whole. I don't even know how many commercials.
I started laughing because, like, when I said get your Competition Plus apparel today, your face was like kind of stunned because the whole mask thing. I'm like, I thought we're over COVID. Like, I thought that was all over.
Yeah, that still just freaks me out. But whatever, it is what it is. It's cool. But yeah, man, what a good interview, and to hear what's coming up out of their camp, and with the cars that's been bought and what they've had, and the whole history of the whole deal. I'm glad to see that he's doing what they're doing and what they're getting ready to do. Anyways.
Mm-hmm. Nah, for sure. I want to take a look at some more comments before we get out of here. Brian Fox says, "I've been to the Hilton shop. It is amazing." And then Dennis Mitchell says, "We can't wait for the Thursday night to get together. A very neat place with the train track next to it." And then what else we got here? Gary Wheeler says, "We'll be at Edgewater Thursday afternoon." And Justin, one of the biggest supporters of the show, he says, "Great show, everyone." Thank you, Justin, for tuning in. And thank you for all your support to Kings of the Sport. Sean Van Horn, mask for dudes who kiss.
What?
Oh my goodness. I couldn't play his other comment because even though I say this show is PG-13. We're not PG or about PG-13. We're not rated R. His comment was low rated R, so I couldn't play it. But it was a funny comment though. I seen it.
I can only imagine.
I was trying not to laugh when I saw it. But man, what another great episode. But like I said, Michael, we're 10 episodes in, and it's just going up from here, man. It's a great show so far. I love it.
Yeah, no, man, it was good. It's good to hear, God dang, Joseph and his dad, man. It's going to be cool to watch what goes on because, I mean, I feel like this year they're going to really be trying to throw some stuff at that car. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And, I mean, hell, you're showing up at a race, like you said, Megan Meyer's going to be there with her A-Fuel car. That's a 340 car, that they probably won't even have to rebuild it. She'd probably drive the damn thing back to the pits after she makes the run, It's going to be crazy to see all these cars running together. But in the end, it's half-track racing, baby. Right here, that's where we're at.
Okay. I'm a fan of the Meyers, Randy Meyer, Megan Meyer, the whole Meyer team, Julie Natus. You can't let Megan Meyer take a whole year off and come back and beat you. You got to stop Megan Meyer. You got to.
That's right.
She's an NHRA world champ. All the respect, but you can't let her take a whole year off and come back and beat you guys. Can't let it happen.
No, there's a bunch of killer drivers. I mean, good teams, man, that are showing up to that thing, man. It's gonna be crazy. And if you kind of go back and watch some of the old videos and stuff, what's there, and like the racetracks, it's pretty cool, to see what goes on with all that. I mean, they're gonna stack it in there, and it's a good deal in between. What's going on, and let's go race our races. And first deal for Nitro Chaos to kick off. Man, people are going to be excited about it.
I'm trying to look for one more comment. Then I promise we're going to get out of here. It's from Brian Hall. He said it earlier, and I meant to play it at the end. He mentioned the Lakers. So as you guys know, I'm a big Lakers fan. No John Morant tonight for the Memphis Grizzlies, and we got blown out. Missed opportunity. But his Sacramento Kings, are up 2-0 on the defending champs, the Golden State Warriors. So
I thought you said they were going to be like one and done. Like it was like one.
Well, the original matchup was the Lakers-Kings. It was because the Kings were third and the Lakers were trying to get to 6. So I was like, it's going to be Lakers-Kings first round, but we got 7. So it's Lakers and Grizzlies. And we're now 1-1. We lost tonight. So thank you for this show tonight, because if I was watching the Laker game, I would be so pissed. So I didn't get to watch it tonight. I'm
surprised you wasn't like, hey, man, I got to go. Like, we'll see you later. Just hit the end button.
Michael, this is more important, man. I love basketball. It's my favorite sport. But, I mean, Kings of sport, it's more important, man.
You just DVR that basketball. You'll be fine. It'll be all right.
Like Talladega's this Sunday, but I'm going to Bakersfield, I'm going to miss Talladega. My favorite track on the circuit, Some stuff is more important,
Yeah, it's cool, man. Exciting stuff. It's just going to be a lot of exciting stuff that's going to be coming out. It'd be fun to watch what goes on, because Lee Craft ought to have some pretty good coverage of that race going on.
Yeah.
Are they streaming that or anything? I don't know. I don't know if they stream those chaos deals.
Flow Racing.
Oh, Flow Race. That's right. It is Flow Racing, isn't it? Yeah. So, man, hell, you can hop on there and watch it on Flow Racing too. That's going to be cool.
Like you said, the Monday Morning Racer, Lee Craft, does amazing work. One of the hardest working media dudes out here. Started from YouTube channel to where he is now. Pit reporter for Funny Car Chaos. Does Southeast Gassers Association, NHRA. Now he's doing, like I said, Heritage Series. One of the hardest working dudes out there. So much respect to my man, Lee Craft, the Monday Morning Racer. And like I said, got a legend in the house. David Ratton says, this show was nothing but net. Great job. And I thank you for that, David. It means a lot.
David's a cool dude, man. I've always liked David.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in to episode 10 of the Kings of the Sport podcast. We'll see you in 2 weeks. Good night, everybody.
See ya.